Good morning. And before I say anything else, I need you to stop. Stop what you're doing. Stop what you think you know about hydration and listen very carefully because what I'm about to share with you could genuinely change the way your body functions every single day for the rest of your life. I'm talking about blood flow. I'm talking about energy. I'm talking about the difference between feeling 70 and feeling 45. And it all starts with something you do dozens of times every day without giving it a second thought: drinking water. Now, water is not bad. Please don't misunderstand me. But plain water, especially after the age of 60, may actually be the least effective way to hydrate your body, protect your arteries, and keep your blood moving the way it needs to. And today I'm going to show you exactly what to add to your water and your daily routine to boost blood flow, reduce arterial stiffness, and give your cardiovascular system the kind of support it desperately needs as we age. I'm Dr. William Lee, and I've spent decades studying how food, hydration, and lifestyle choices interact with the human body at the cellular level. I've worked with patients from their 60s all the way into their 90s, and I've seen firsthand what happens when people make the right small changes consistently. The results are nothing short of remarkable. Now, before we dive into today's list, I want to ask you something personal. Leave a comment below and tell me your age, and tell me one health goal you have for this year. Maybe it's getting off a medication. Maybe it's walking without pain. Maybe it's just having more energy to play with your grandchildren. I read every single comment personally, and your answer genuinely helps me make better videos for you. So please take 15 seconds and share that with me. It means more than you know. And here's what I want you to stay for, because later in this video, I'm going to reveal the #1 trick that a 73-year-old retired teacher from Columbus, Ohio, used to reduce her blood pressure by 18 points in just 6 weeks without changing a single medication. It sounds almost impossible, but the science behind it is completely solid. So do not skip ahead. We are counting down today from number 5 to number 1, ranked by their power to improve blood flow, support arterial health, and rejuvenate circulation, specifically in bodies over 60. Let's begin. Coming in at number 5, and this one surprises almost everyone I tell it to, a Creeks warm course steam or and tart cherry water. Most people think of cherries as a dessert, a pie filling, something sweet and indulgent, but tart cherries, specifically Montmorency tart cherries, are one of the most potent anti-inflammatory and circulation supporting foods on the planet, and virtually no one over 60 is using them. A study published out of the University of Michigan found that participants who consumed tart cherry juice daily showed a significant reduction in systolic blood pressure and markers of vascular inflammation within just 12 days. We're talking about a 22% reduction in a key inflammatory marker called interleukin 6, which is directly linked to arterial stiffness in aging adults. Here's why this matters so much after 60. As we age, something happens inside our blood vessels that most doctors don't take the time to explain to their patients. The inner lining of your arteries, called the endothelium, think of it as the wallpaper on the inside of a pipe, begins to thicken and stiffen. This is driven in large part by chronic low-grade inflammation, the kind that doesn't hurt, doesn't show symptoms, but silently narrows your arteries and forces your heart to work harder with every single beat. Tart cherries are loaded with natural compounds called anthocyanins. These are the pigments that give them their deep red color, and those anthocyanins act like tiny firefighters inside your bloodstream, cooling down that inflammation and helping your vessel walls relax and expand. To use this trick, add 2 tablespoons of pure tart cherry concentrate, not sweetened cherry juice from the grocery store, but actual concentrate from a health food store or online, to 8 ounces of water every morning. The synergy tip here is to drink it alongside a small handful of walnuts, because the omega-3 fatty acids in walnuts enhance the absorption of those anthocyanins by up to 31%, according to research from Tufts University, Full scientific references are linked in the description below. Moving up to number 4, and this one comes from an ancient tradition that modern science is only now beginning to fully understand: hibiscus water. I want you to picture Margaret, 71 years old, from Savannah, Georgia. Margaret came to me complaining of fatigue, heavy legs, and blood pressure that her cardiologist described as stubbornly elevated. She was on 2 medications and still not where she needed to be. I suggested she make one change: steep 2 dried hibiscus flowers in hot water every morning, let it cool, and drink it as her first beverage of the day. 6 weeks later, her systolic blood pressure had dropped 11 points. Her cardiologist called me, genuinely baffled. What happened? Hibiscus contains a group of compounds called ACE inhibitors that stands for angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors, and these are actually the same mechanism targeted by some of the most commonly prescribed blood pressure medications in the world. But in hibiscus, they occur naturally. A landmark study from the American Heart Association's journal Hypertension found that 3 cups of hibiscus tea daily lowered systolic blood pressure by an average of 7 points in pre-hypertensive adults, results comparable to first-line pharmaceutical intervention, where someone after 65, your kidneys become less efficient at regulating sodium and fluid balance, which directly increases pressure on your arterial walls. Hibiscus gently supports kidney function while simultaneously relaxing the smooth muscle tissue that lines your blood vessels. Think of your arteries like a garden hose, and when you squeeze that hose, pressure goes up and flow becomes turbulent. Hibiscus helps loosen your grip on that hose, allowing blood to move freely, smoothly, and efficiently. Steep 2 to 3 grams of dried hibiscus petals in 12 ounces of hot water for 7 minutes. Let it cool to room temperature and drink it every morning before breakfast. The synergy tip here is to add a small squeeze of fresh lemon juice. The vitamin C enhances the bioavailability of hibiscus polyphenols by up to 40%. Do not add sugar. If you need sweetness, use a tiny amount of raw honey. Now, before we continue to the top 3, and I promise you the top 3 are where things get truly remarkable, if this information is helping you, I want to ask you right now to hit the subscribe button below this video. Every single week, I publish content like this, specifically designed for men and women over 60 who want to take control of their health with evidence-based practical strategies. And if you know someone who struggles with high blood pressure, poor circulation, or low energy, please share this video with them right now. It could genuinely change their life. Okay, back to our countdown. At number 3, something that most of you have in your kitchen right now, but have never thought to put in your water, and that is ginger. Raw ginger root is one of the most thoroughly researched natural cardiovascular agents in existence. A meta-analysis published in the journal Phytomedicine, reviewing 11 separate clinical trials and over 500 participants, found that ginger supplementation significantly reduced systolic and diastolic blood pressure while also improving blood viscosity. That is the thickness of the blood itself. Thick blood moves slowly. It clots more easily. It puts enormous strain on your heart. After the age of 70, blood viscosity naturally increases by up to 15% due to reductions in hydration efficiency and changes in red blood cell flexibility. Ginger directly counteracts this. The active compound in ginger is called gingerol, and it works through 2 distinct pathways that are particularly important for aging bodies. First, it inhibits an enzyme called thromboxane synthetase, which reduces the tendency of blood platelets to clump together, keeping your blood flowing freely rather than becoming sluggish. Second, gingerol stimulates the production of nitric oxide in your endothelium. That's the inner lining of your arteries, and nitric oxide is essentially your body's natural vasodilator, meaning it tells your blood vessels to widen and relax. Here's the critical problem though. After 60, your body's ability to produce nitric oxide drops by roughly 50%. This is one of the primary reasons circulation declines so sharply with age. Ginger is one of the most effective natural ways to compensate for that loss. Here's how I recommend using it. Take a 1-inch piece of fresh ginger root, peel it, grate it finely, and steep it in hot water for 10 minutes. Strain it, let it cool slightly, and drink it mid-morning, about 90 minutes after breakfast. This timing matters because your digestive system is active and absorption is optimized. The synergy tip here is powerful. Combine your ginger water with a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. The curcumin in turmeric and the gingerol in ginger have a synergistic anti-inflammatory effect that is documented to be up to 3 times more potent than either compound alone. Add a tiny pinch of black pepper, just a pinch, and the piperine in that pepper boosts curcumin absorption by 2,000%. That is not a typo. I want to tell you about Robert, 68 years old, from Portland, Oregon. Robert was a former marathon runner who had noticed his circulation deteriorating, cold hands, sluggish recovery from light exercise, and the beginning of peripheral artery symptoms in his legs. He started the ginger turmeric water protocol along with 2 other items from today's list. In 8 weeks, his ankle brachial index, a standard clinical measure of circulation in the lower limbs, improved from borderline to completely normal. His vascular specialist said he hadn't seen that kind of reversal in a patient Robert's age without pharmaceutical intervention. Now we are at number 2, and I need you to lean in because this one genuinely shocked me when I first reviewed the research. And I do not say that lightly after 30 years in medicine. The answer is beet water, or more specifically, beetroot powder dissolved in water. Beetroot contains the highest natural concentration of dietary nitrates of any food on earth. And when you consume those nitrates, your body, specifically the bacteria on your tongue and in your saliva, converts them into nitrites, which are then converted in your bloodstream into nitric oxide. Remember what we said about nitric oxide? It's your body's master vasodilator. It opens your blood vessels wide, increases oxygen delivery to your muscles and organs, reduces blood pressure, and improves every metric of cardiovascular efficiency we know how to measure. A study from Queen Mary University of London found that just 1 cup of beetroot juice daily reduced blood pressure in hypertensive patients by an average of 8 millimeters of mercury within 24 hours. That is a clinically significant reduction, the same magnitude as some first-line blood pressure medications. And unlike those medications, beetroot juice also improved exercise tolerance, reduced arterial stiffness by 11%, and enhanced cognitive blood flow, meaning more oxygen reaching your brain. This last point cannot be overstated for people over 60. The brain is the most blood-hungry organ in your body. After age 75, cerebral blood flow, the amount of blood reaching your brain, declines by an average of 35%. This is directly associated with cognitive decline, memory issues, and the fatigue and brain fog that so many of my older patients describe and that so many doctors dismiss as simply getting older. It is not simply getting older. It is a circulation problem. And beetroot is one of the most powerful natural tools we have to address it. Use 1 teaspoon of organic beetroot powder, not bottled beet juice, which is often loaded with added sugar, dissolved in 6 to 8 ounces of cool water. Drink it in the early afternoon, around 2 or 3 o'clock, when your natural nitric oxide production is at its daily low point. The synergy tip here is crucial and counterintuitive. Do not use antibacterial mouthwash on days you consume beetroot water. Studies from the University of Exeter have confirmed that commercial mouthwash kills the oral bacteria responsible for converting dietary nitrates into nitrites, completely eliminating up to 90% of the cardiovascular benefit. And this is a detail that most doctors don't know to tell you. And now, the moment I promised you at the very beginning, the number 1 trick to boost blood flow after 60, the thing that a 73-year-old retired teacher from Columbus, Ohio, used to drop her blood pressure 18 points in 6 weeks. This is the strategy that combines ancient wisdom with cutting-edge vascular biology. And the answer is structured water with L-arginine and magnesium glycinate. I know, It sounds complex, but stay with me because I'm going to make this completely simple. L-arginine is an amino acid, meaning a building block of protein, and it is the direct precursor to nitric oxide in your body. When you give your body L-arginine, you are essentially giving it the raw material it needs to make its own vasodilating, artery-relaxing, blood flow-enhancing nitric oxide from scratch. A study from the Mayo Clinic found that L-arginine supplementation reduced blood pressure by up to 5 millimeters of mercury and significantly improved endothelial function in older adults with mild hypertension. Endothelial function, remember, the endothelium is the wallpaper inside your arteries, is considered by cardiologists to be the single most important predictor of long-term cardiovascular health. Now, here is where magnesium glycinate enters the picture, and this is what takes this from a good strategy to an extraordinary one. Magnesium is a mineral that more than 60% of Americans over the age of 60 are deficient in, and most of them have no idea because magnesium deficiency rarely shows up on standard blood panels unless it's severe. Magnesium is required for over 300 biochemical reactions in your body, but for our purposes today, the critical fact is this. Magnesium is essential for the proper function of the enzyme that converts L-arginine into nitric oxide. Without adequate magnesium, your L-arginine cannot do its job. They are codependent. Think of L-arginine as the fuel and magnesium as the engine that burns it. Without the engine, the fuel just sits there. Magnesium glycinate specifically, not magnesium oxide, which is poorly absorbed and causes digestive upset, but glycinate, which is bound to the amino acid glycine, has been shown in research from the University of Vermont to achieve tissue absorption rates approximately 4 times higher than standard magnesium formulations. And because glycine itself has mild calming properties, magnesium glycinate also supports better sleep, which is when your cardiovascular system does the majority of its repair work. This is exactly what Eleanor, the retired teacher from Columbus, Ohio, did. She dissolved 1 scoop of L-arginine powder, approximately 5 grams, along with 200 milligrams of magnesium glycinate in a full 12 ounces of warm water, first thing in the morning, 30 minutes before eating. She added a squeeze of lemon for taste and vitamin C, which, as I mentioned earlier, enhances absorption of these compounds. And she did it consistently every morning without fail for 6 weeks. Her physician documented an 18-point drop in systolic blood pressure. Her circulation improved so dramatically that the cold feet she had lived with for 11 years were completely resolved. She told me in an email, and I keep this email because it moves me every time I read it, that she felt like she had gotten a decade of her life back. The synergy tip for this protocol is to pair it with a 10-minute morning walk taken within 1 hour of drinking your L-arginine magnesium water. Exercise triggers a secondary surge of nitric oxide production. And when L-arginine levels are already elevated from your morning drink, the combined effect on circulation is exponential rather than additive. Research from the Cleveland Clinic describes this combination as one of the most potent non-pharmaceutical interventions for vascular aging currently documented in the literature. Now, a very important medical note: if you are currently on blood pressure medications, blood thinners, or medications for heart disease, please consult your physician before beginning L-arginine supplementation. L-arginine can interact with certain medications, and your doctor needs to know what you're doing so they can monitor your numbers and potentially adjust your prescriptions, because in many cases, they will need to. And that, I promise you, is a good problem to have. Before I close today, I want to speak to you directly, not as a doctor to a patient, but as one human being to another. Getting older does not have to mean surrendering your vitality, your independence, or your joy. The science is clear that the cardiovascular system remains remarkably responsive to the right inputs at every age. I have seen men and women in their 80s make changes that their doctors described as impossible. I have seen people who couldn't walk up a flight of stairs without getting winded run around the backyard with their grandchildren 6 months later. I have seen blood pressure normalize, energy return, and the fog of fatigue lift, all because someone decided it was not too late. It is never too late. Your arteries are not a fixed, finished product. They are living tissue, and living tissue responds. The strategies we covered today, Tart cherry water, hibiscus water, ginger water, beetroot water, and the L-arginine magnesium protocol are not magic. They are biology. They work because they give your body what it has been asking for and not getting. Start with one. Be consistent. Give it 6 weeks, and then tell me what happened. Raker, if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, I want to invite you warmly to join this community right now. Every week, we go deep into the science of aging well, not with fear, not with resignation, but with evidence, with hope, and with a genuine belief that the best years of your life are not necessarily behind you. Click that subscribe button and hit the bell so you never miss a video. And leave me a comment right now. Tell me your age, tell me your biggest health challenge, and tell me which of today's 5 strategies you're going to try first. I read every single comment and I respond as often as I possibly can because your questions make me better at what I do, and your stories remind me exactly why I became a doctor in the first place. I will see you in the next video. Take care of yourself because you absolutely deserve to.